Friends, thank you for joining us tonight. It's time for the Silver Lining. I'm going to jump right in with my guest, Bell Lou. Bell, you constantly are deconstructing Islam. I think there's a massive threat of Islam in the United States and around the world right now. So what do you do to deconstruct Islam to a Muslim and help them see that the Bible is actually accurate, the Quran is not?
I'll tell you something, David. The goal isn't just to rip people out of Islam, but actually to build them into Christ. And the key actually lies in the Old Testament stories of our Bible. So I'll give you some examples. But first, we're going to read from the Quran. And so this is in chapter 10, verse 94. It says to Muhammad, this is God speaking, "If you are in doubt about what we have revealed to you, then ask those who read the scripture before you." And that's alluding to the Old Testament stories. And so another story in the Quran, this is in chapter 2, verse 247. This is what it says. Verse 249. This is King Saul saying, "God will test you with the river. Whoever drinks from it is not with me. Whoever does not taste it except from a sip from the hollow of his hands is definitely with me." And then it says later on that Saul and his army charged at Goliath and his army. And then David killed Goliath. Now, anyone who has read the Torah, the Old Testament, knows this is completely contradictory. Another story is of Ishmael. They believe that Ishmael, Abraham, and Hagar traveled to Mecca and built the Kaaba there. Now, a quick look at Genesis 21 completely deconstructs that. We see in verse 21, Ishmael actually married an Egyptian woman, meaning his children are not Arab whatsoever. Not only that, the parallel story in Genesis 21 has him going to Beersheba and not Mecca. And so the third one I want to bring up is Surah chapter 17, verse 101. It says this. "We surely gave Moses 9 clear signs. Ask the children of Israel." Now, in our Bible, we know that there were 10 plagues, there were 10 signs and not 9. And so clearly something is an issue here. And guess which one they're missing? They're actually missing the last one, the death of the firstborn, arguably the most important one. That actually creates a huge issue, because now we don't have the Passover either. And the Passover is extremely well documented. We don't have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We have all of these corroborations as well. And so also keep in mind, all of these claims are being made in the 7th century. That means every single manuscript and copy of the Torah and the Old Testament that we have can and will be used against the Quran, including the Dead Sea Scrolls from the 250s BC, all the way to extra biblical texts, such as the Roman historian Josephus, the Greek philosopher Philo, and many, many other codexes of the Old Testament. And so this is a massive issue for Islam. What I love about this method.
I was going to say, I love how you break it down, but I also love your heart is for the individual. How big a threat do you feel like is Islam is here in the West or around the world? And what's your hope that anybody that believes in the Quran, what's your hope for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a massive threat. And my hope is that they first and foremost become Christian. And I know there's a political fight. There's a fight to get the theology right and the morals right. And people love debating those things and fighting for those things, which is important. But I like to just deconstruct the Quran first, because all their theology, politics, and morals comes from this. And there's 2 billion people enslaved to this book of nonsense. And so if we can build them back into the Bible, their politics, their morals, and their theology will change. And so the point and the plan is to make them Christian, and that'll deal with Islam as we know it.
Well, and they're obviously very passionate about their faith and their belief system. But they're just obviously very often lost with where they're resting their faith in a book that, again, is 700 years after the time of Christ, thousands of years after the Old Testament, and it's just not very accurate. Well, I appreciate your heart. I know you're seeing transformation. I'd love to have you back on again soon. There's your, I hope everybody goes and follows you, Bell Lou. That's how you can find her on social media. Bell, thank you for joining us tonight, and there's your website as well. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'd love to have you back. God bless you, and stay strong out there. Appreciate your fight.